say, impulsive behavior. So anyway, Alex present, yeah. So he will be very happy that if I'm saying this too. So we can let's say we come to this conclusion. So without removing the deflection and then the impulsive behavior, so-called karma, once we are with these two, we won't be happy forever. Because we are always deluded. What is deluding us is the ignorance mind. So-called this ignorant mind is deluding us, and then we are always looking for more and more, but for only this life or the next life. But most of us, we always focus on this life only. And then once you feel like there is nothing to lose, because you know that you cannot take whatever you have in the bank, or you have something, a beautiful family, you know that you can take it. So you just have to give up, even you are ready or not. But it is once you believe in the continuous, now we are talking a little bit about the past and the future life. Now then, once you believe in the continuous of past and future life, or the continuous of the consciousness, so then there looks like there's a possibility of that whatever you did, something bad will continue or not. So the cause of the something doing good will result as it will become positive, and something you do something bad, the result will be negative. So now this is, if you can make this clear, if I do good, there will be only good things. If I do bad, then only bad things will happen. If you can differentiate with only these two, and then become very solid and believe into this system, then you have come close to believe in the law of causality. So then you feel like, I can do, even I want to do it, I can't do it because I have to face the consequences. So either in this life or the next life. So, and then you feel like, if you are clever enough, so because I think we have made one subject for the meditations. Did you get that?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that tomorrow also. Then this is what I thought it was good. 3 scopes of beings. So now we have to try to become one of the first, and then second and third. So when I try to explain that, be with me. So when I say, let's think about the first scope of the beings, so then this is what we are talking about, the renunciation. So now let's think if you are attached to something, so feel like, well, I'm very attached with this, but this is not the real happiness that it gives me. The way you look at, and then your mind makes this is my happiness. If I can get this, I can live with this, this is true happiness. But then it's not true, because my predecessor gives an example of once you have everything in this world, you won't be happy. Because his example is something like the king of the heaven. So, but this is quite big. So let's say billionaires, right? So these days, billionaires and millionaires, they have so many problems. So they came with so many questions. I have depression. I'm very sad, and I can barely sleep. So I take sleeping pills in order to get sleep. All the same. They have a most luxury, and every night, every day, they are eating so many and wasting so many things. Why they're doing? They feel like there's happiness, but now they are not totally happy, even they have everything. Let's say, let's put it like this way. So now, what is real happiness, right? So here, when we talk about the first scope, or sometimes we translate like the capacity of the person, let's say the first, second, third person, but this is no, like there's not a real person. We put this way, the way of thinking, the second, the first, second, third. So the first, when the person is looking for real happiness, then he feels in this life I have to prepare for something, that if there's a next life, I should be happy, not ending up in other realm, what's it called? Realms? Lower realms. So we don't need to go to the hell realms. Just think about the animals. So you can watch so many, because in the television you can see so many very sad things, because some animals just born, like for a deer, the baby just born, and then a predator is coming and attack, right? So they deserve to live. That's why they born. But looks like the predator comes here and attacking that very innocent newborn this creature. So he only lives for maybe 20-30 minutes, and then it's eaten by predator. So what I'm trying to say, if we can think that if our consciousness never stops and then goes to the next life, so we always be human or not, then if you think only human, then what happened? What kind of the consciousness of the dog or the deers and the lion? What kind of consciousness they are following? Are they every time lion, every time deer? So that's when you think about the cause. What makes them to become this kind of sort of form they have to get. So now then we have to go to the all this cause of, what do we call it, the karma, right? Karma, and then the destructive emotion. We want to become happy, but then somehow our deluded mind gives us so much desire, too much desire, and then we really don't recognize the real happiness. So we end up in this. So we may keep, bring lots of pleasure from what the bad things we're doing. So we end up on this situation. So now, so when you think, every time when if you with this kind of without any control, you have to reborn as again and again in this kind sort of the lower realm, and then maybe in a human, or in the gods, or the deities, or the celestial beings. Then this kind of happiness, it is just like Shantideva said, it is happiness of something that when you feel itchy, right? Itchy. Then when you try to scratch, it gives you a happy. But we call it, this is a happiness. I feel very happy. But it's better not to have this kind of happiness, because this is part of the suffering. So this is how the first sculpt, the first person that I'm mentioning. So this is how the person looks. I should be very careful. If there's next life, I don't want to end up in a lower rung. I want to be a perfect human. So then he tries to keep his what we call try not to. What's that?
Morality,
ethics. And then he try to avoid doing 10 negative, non-virtuous actions. So this is the first person. So now I only have 10 minutes now. So maybe today there's no meditation, right? So you are going to sleep. Before going to sleep, maybe you can meditate on this. So why we are so clinged to this life? And what does not give you an opportunity to think about past and future life? You should exercise, because I'm not going to say this in this textbook. It says something like this. This sometimes is a fact, and sometimes kind of opinion. So the best thing is your own doubt. So please think about why you never wonder about it. Even you wonder about it, then why you don't think it's important? So please think a little bit about that. And if you really don't want to think about it, then it doesn't matter. But then it will be fun tomorrow when I listen to some of the answers. Then we can say this is a really good idea, and then we can just work together, right? So and then also we have to sometimes think some people, when I say I'm going to the West And then some of my Tibetan friends, and they say, in West don't teach about death because people are not ready. But we are not talking about death because to frighten you. This is a preparation. There are so many ways of doing preparation. And here, the preparation is something, if there is something good thing that you can take with you, so then you have to collect everything in this life and go next life. So, my teacher told me that he shared one very good opinion of thinking, get ready when the death is coming. So it's something like, he says, this in India the trains are not very punctual. Some delays, never comes before the time. That's a good thing. So never times come on the right time also. So it comes very delayed. So my teacher gave me a very good tip. Every day I'm thinking this is a really good way of thinking how to getting at the preparation of the death. So he said, you ask someone then saying, when will train arrive, and then they will say, it's the time on time. It's on its way. We really don't know when it's coming. So, but you have so many things with you. If I were you, I will be very aware of it. So you should be very ready when this train is coming, because it will stop at the platform for only 1 minute or 2 minutes. So you have to jump inside and take all your luggage and belongings inside there, right? So you don't have much time there. So when we think about that, we feel like it will come. So it looks like it will come right away to suddenly. But when you think very carefully, it is something like it's coming, and then if you have this kind of what we call binocular, or what is called scope?
Microscope.
Yeah, microscope.
Telescope.
No, telescope. Yeah, something like you look at it, so you can see, but you can see it here. But when you put this kind of long glass telescope, so then you can see how the fast train is coming. So it's coming, right? So, and we have plenty of time to, it looks like we have plenty of time to prepare. And the really bad news is, we really don't know, it sometimes comes very suddenly. And we cannot, if somebody gives you a paper and say, can you guarantee that you won't die tomorrow? Nobody can sign it. It's a tough word. So, here, when I talked about impermanent and the death, it is nothing to do just getting scared. But maybe I'm a little bit stupid or something. When I hear of something about death, it doesn't scare me at all. And I feel like I have maybe death so many times. Got in a pain so many times. So what's something to worry about? But then, sometimes when I think about the suffering that I experience in life, then I feel like, hope this kind of thing will never happen to me again. This I'm very sure. I sometimes pray, and I'll also pray that something bad happened to me, I pray that it will never happen to other sentient beings. So then I feel like this is prayer not only for this life. If there's a next life, it is included already, right? So it's part of getting ready, preparation. So when Buddha taught about the suffering, and he taught about permanent, he said that because he has something better thing to offer to you. This is, he taught the suffering is there because it has a cause. Because there is a cause of the suffering, then there is the suffering is there. So then he said, there is a way to stop it, the what we call it, get rid of it. And then for that he showed the cessation. We call truth of cessation? Truth of cessation. So then he shared, and then in order to achieve the truth of the cessation, then we need to know the truth of path, right? Truth of path. So then Buddha himself said, I'm the refuge. Refuge? Right? Refuge? Three refuge? That's right. Three refuge. Yeah? And Sangha is refuge. But the main is Dharma. Dharma is the real refuge. So when he talks about Dharma, so now the cessation. Cessation is our true refuge. So when we recite these beautiful verses, it's a verse, right? Just verses. So we make this prayer to become, we may become like you, that I can benefit others. So in order, we cannot just turn into Buddha Shakyamuni. This is very funny. It's a very lazy prayer, I guess. Buddha Shakyamuni, he for a long time he purified, and then at last he became Buddha. Before he was like us. Then he taught us the way, he showed us the path. Now we cannot say, I want to become Buddha Shakyamuni. Prayers are like Buddha Shakyamuni. So that true prayer is what he has achieved called cessation, truth of cessation. So once we get it, we will get everything, all the true jewels together. So we're going to talk more about cessation and then about how to become enlightenment. So today we will stop here, right? Stop here, and then please, before going to bed, and maybe you have your own practice to do. If you do, then also consider when you do, before starting your sadhana, maybe you meditate a little bit on why should I think about next life? Why cannot I think only about this life? What's wrong with it? So bring up some doubts, and then some maybe people have good answers to it. So we are going to meet here again. So tomorrow morning, around what? 7:30.
We meet together at 9:30. We meet here at 6:30 for
Okay.
meditation.
Okay.
The first session is first teaching 9.
Okay, 9. Okay. So I will see you at 9 then, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We make the
So do I
meditation.
have to come for the meditation?
For meditation meditation at 6:30.
Okay. Yep.
And the dedication
לא,
of
שהיינו רוצים לבוא.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Should I
There's no
come
need,
for?
no.
No need? Okay. So I can sleep. Just kidding. Okay, dedication.
Page 19 and then 18. Dedication in Hebrew. בזכות חסד זה, עושים במהרה ממצב הברור בודה, ולהוביל למצב זה את כל הנודעים עד אחד. ותודעת ההערה עלי בדיקת הערך שטרם נולדה תיוולד, שזו שנולדה לא תיכוון ותשגה עוד ועוד. בארץ זו המוקפת עצי הרים ושלגים, מקור הרווחה והאושר ללא יוצא מן הכלל, אבל הקיש את לא הרב העוצמה תן זמגייצו, ותיוותר עד קץ הקיום.